Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from Camp Crystal Lake because tonight is the night for the virtual watch party of Jason X at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And how do you join in on the fun? Well, I have all the details for you. First of all, you have to sign up at screamshare.beehive.com. That Beehive is spelled BEEHIIV.com. And that's how you get the invite to the party tonight. The other thing you need to do is download the Teleparty extension for your Chrome browser. You don't need a big fancy account. You just need to have it installed to your Chrome browser because that's the only way to do it. And we're going to be watching on Tubi tonight. So if you have a Tubi account, all the better. But what is important is that you're signed up so that when I send out the share link, you can get hooked up and be part of the action. The only one who needs a paid account is me, the host. So if you receive an error message, you just make sure you're signed in and you hit refresh and it seems to go on. We're going to start the festivities directly at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific with a 10-minute pre-show. And once we begin, you can use the live chat to scream, comment, and laugh along. I can't wait to have you a part of the discussion. That's tonight, Jason X on Teleparty with me for Scream Share. And now, the body count continues. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the loving time is here. That's right. We're talking about Friday the 13th. On Friday the 13th. And the worst couples ever on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from, what's this called? Crystal Lake. Hey, this is the Kill by Kill podcast, where usually we're talking about horror movie characters in the order in which they die, in the hopes that their untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we can make at their expense. But as we are approaching the day of Valentine's, we decided to switch things up, as it is one of those years in which we get a Friday the 13th, and that means we are court mandated to at least one of those Friday the 13th to talk about the franchise that gave birth to this podcast. And as always, there's only one person I trust to dish the dirt on these fucking dirtbags. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How you doing today, Gina?
I'd say that, the line about, just when I was out, they pulled me back in, but I'm happy to be pulled back in for this.
Yes. Here's the thing. This dumb franchise does bring me a level of joy that I just don't always get elsewhere, because other things have, quality, or they're genuinely scary, or whatever they are. They can't quite give me what Friday the 13th has. And as we started this podcast 10 years ago.
10 years.
10 years. I think very close to this date, as we tried to figure out how to talk about the first couple who dies on Friday the 13th. And I think it took 4 tries for us to get it right.
I believe so, yes.
It wouldn't record. The recordings wouldn't match. We had technical issues, and then finally we found the software that actually allows us to talk over the internet. But boy, we had a hell of a time talking about Barry and Claudette. And ultimately, I think it's what binds us to the franchise and to our audience, because this is where the magic happened right here. Talking about shitty couples within Friday the 13th franchise movies.
Yes, exactly.
So it's that time of year where we look for the best in love, but not all of us are so lucky. And there are many, many couples within the Friday the 13th franchise that you could say are semi-successful, or at least are doing the best with what they have at that time. There's very few forever couples. within the franchise, in my opinion. I don't know about you.
No, I would agree with you.
But as I started to go through my notes, and I've managed to keep the majority of my notes for this time in our lives. And I started to clock in all of the different couples. I was like, wow, what are we? I was like, this was an idea, but what qualifies as a couple was something that started to come to the fore for me. Is it their long-term dating? Is it they're dating within the circumstance? Is it just any two people who are hooking up within the camera's lens? What was your definition?
Yeah, I did not need them to declare love for each other, to be, or even to establish that, oh, I'm here with my boyfriend. Just like, any like, semi-romantic or, sexual chemistry between them.
Okay.
They don't have to be actually having sex on screen, although a couple of them do.
Yeah.
But yeah, just anyone that has that sort of we're hooking up vibe.
Yeah, I did take a more traditional than not tact than I thought I would. But just going through here, these were the potential couples I wrote down. You've got Jack and Marcy and Barry and Claudette from the first Friday the 13th. You've got Jeff and Sandra. Sandra, of course, being underage, and Ginny and Paul the sex idiot from part 2. Then you've got Andy and Debbie, one of the few, I think, genuine couples in the entire franchise. Then you've got Rick and Chris, Chuck and Chili, who were originally supposed to be Cheech and Chong. That was the idea there. Then you've got a genuine married couple in Harold and Edna. And then common law, you've got Fox, Ali, and Loco in their sort of polycule. In part 4, you've got Doug and Sarah. And then practically almost everyone in that movie is fucking to some degree.
Right.
They're attempting to fuck. They're trying to fuck. They are fucking. They have fucked. That includes Axel and Nurse Morgan, who honorable mention for those two. For me.
Because they're kind of like the, I feel like they took a cue from the quote unquote couple in Halloween 2 of the paramedic and the nurse.
Oh yeah.
It's because nurses have so much free time in hospital, working in a hospital. Although to be fair, Laurie appeared to be the only patient in that hospital that night.
Sure.
And all of some babies.
Babies and dead bodies. Why Axel has nothing to do when in that weekend alone, starting on Friday, he got 13 bodies. Saturday, now he's gotten another 13 bodies. Like, how does he have any time to watch, porn aerobic tapes or flirt with Nurse Morgan? Like, you have shit to do. Oh my God, you have so many dead bodies to process. And he's like, I got to sit down on my couch. You shouldn't have a couch. You should be on roller skates. Friday the 13th, part 5. Oh my God. You got Eddie and Tina, Billy and Lana, Demon and Anita, who have, and then we have some additions.
Yeah, I was going to say, spoiler, my list of 5 couples, 3 of them come from part 5.
Okay, that's where we're going to stop, because that discussion will be had. Friday the 13th, part 6. You've got Darren and Elizabeth, Court and Nikki, Marvin and alcohol. That was, I think I was taking a flyer on that, but I think if he is married to anything, it is alcohol. And then Tommy and Megan are flirtatious, but we never really, they're more like buddy cops for the majority of it.
Right.
Where he's like, hey, I noticed you have a vagina when you shoved me into your lap. Like, up until that point, it's not what Tommy's looking for. And then Tommy and his friend from the mental institution, when he says, hey, will you help me dig up this dead serial killer so that I can yell at him? He's like, what are you doing Friday? Part 7, you've got, this is just a treasure trove. You've got Ben and Kate, Tina and Nick, John and Amanda Shepherd, who are married. They're a married couple up until the point that, someone puts, till Tina puts John in the drink. Then you've got Michael and Jane. Of course, we should note that Jane is played by Stacey Greason, who was a former guest on this show, the only Friday the 13th person we've ever had on this show. And the only reason she was on, she lives 2 blocks away from me. All right. Then you've got Melissa and Eddie and Robin and David. They're just, I don't know. That's a crazy one. That's another part that they very much wanted to do part 4 that, where everyone is either wanting to fucking, or have fucked. Then you've got part 8. And oh boy, you got Jim and Susie, Renee and Jim, question mark. I don't even know who these people are. Oh, yeah. They're the 2 leads. They have zero sexual chemistry.
When you looked at your, when you sent me the list of potential couples, I'm like, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, and this is not the first time you pointed this out, just how many Tinas there are in this franchise.
Oh my God, there's a billion Tinas. It is a weirdly sexless entry in the Friday the 13th franchise. And yet it contains another honorable mention for me, Tamara and Vice Principal McCullough. You heard that correct. But there's a reason why when we talk about part 8, we're never talking about the characters. We're talking about like smoking bread and how weird that ship is. Like they're barely characters. It's so weird. Okay. We're jumping over to the New Line era now. We've got Jason Goes to Hell, and we have Stephen, Jessica, and Robert and their weird polycule. Shelby and Joey, the diner owners and cook, respectively. Sheriff Landis and Diana. And Vicky and Ward, who are the 2 people who have sex in a tent that I'm very convinced was not part of the original filming. They're like, we got to put some kind of sex in this movie. And they hired these 3 people and like, get naked and get in a tent. Then we've got Jason X, where we have Professor Lowe and Janessa, Sooneron and KM14, and Stoney and Kinsey. And I swear to God, I wrote in my notes, how are these Stoney and Kinsey? Why are they together? And I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. You can point to them. I have so many notes that say Stoney or Kinsey in Jason X notes. No recollection as to who they are. None. Now we're into the remake. We've got Micah Whitney and Richie and Amanda. They're part of the cold open group. And then you've got another honorable mention for me, which is Jenna and Trent and Bree. Because Jenna and Trent are terrible together. But in my heart of hearts, Trent and Bree are forever. They're freak matches. Once again, it was mentioned, I think during the Send Help episode of Blank Check, the line, your tits are just like so juicy, dude. It's one of the screenwriters of Send Help may or may not have written that line. It might have been improv. We don't know. But it's perhaps one of those brilliant things ever put into a Friday the 13th movie. I believe that scene is one of the tops. It's weird for that movie to be as good of a Friday the 13th and as bad of a Friday the 13th as it is.
It really is. It's like, it's somehow terrible and pretty good at the same time.
Which I think is what the entire franchise is. Like, they're all kind of ludicrous. They all kind of suck. They're so rote. And yet what makes them interesting are the characters. And very few horror films and franchises sort of take that lesson of like, invest in the characters. Even if I don't like them, make me not like them in a creative way. And Friday the 13th seems to be one of the few that's able to do that. And then we get into Freddy versus Jason, which is a bit of an outlier, but I think worthy of discussion. So you have Lori and Will. Those are the two leads. Remember what they look like?
No.
Those are characters I've liked in other things. And it was like, Jason Ritter is not in a fucking Friday the 13th movie. What are you talking about? He was. You have Trey and Gib. Remember them? And Freddy and the dead body he has sex with. Which I flirted with putting on this list. It was in that number 5 slot constantly. And then I was like, you know what? It's number 1. But again, you can only have one couple in which one participant has no rule or say over their own bodily autonomy. So that's a clue as to who will be in my top 5. All right. So we're going to start from 5 and move all the way up. I've mentioned a couple honorable mentions. Do you have any before you get into your 5?
My honorable mention, I had to sit quietly and think about this.
Sure. Contemplate.
And I've already but I've already forgotten their names. That the couple that runs the store.
Oh yes, Harold and Edna.
Harold and Edna. Yeah, I was like, they really should be on this list. But I was like, I think the ones I put on there deserve the honor or dishonor, if you will, of being on there a little more, because they're not necessarily a bad couple. They're actually perfect for each other. The issues I have with them are as individual characters.
Right. Yes. They are very rote, right? They're what is that cartoon strip where the couple just bicker at one another and you're like, how long until they the lock horns? How long until murder happens here? Because whether or not Jason rises from the dead via curse and starts slaughtering people, Harold and Edna are going to come to blows. Like that couple will blow up at some point. But it has zero to do with Jason. They're already in there.
He's doing them a favor by murdering them.
He is trying to kill himself. He is slowly but surely trying to find ways to take himself off the board, chess style.
They're already in their own personal hell.
Yeah, they're circling the drain over there. So I get it. He's taking shelf-stable juice and taking gulps, eating donuts out of Lucy Donuts. Who sells Lucy Donuts? He has fresh vegetables that he's housing a rabbit in. He nearly dies putting the rabbit away because there's a rattlesnake inside the rabbit's hovel. Cage, whatever the fuck that's called. I don't know. I don't deal with rabbits, and I'm not going to start. I don't have that kind of free time or monetary capacity anymore. The time for me to start raising rabbits is come and gone. So I think that is a decent honor, because I thought for sure they would end up in my top 5. And then when I really started paring things down, I'm like, no, they're just kind of dire. But I don't think they're the worst.
Exactly.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Okay. So now that we have our prerequisites out of the way, do you want to go first? Why don't you go first and I'll go second. And if any of our people overlap, why don't we hold off until the second person brings them up? That way we're not covering the same territory multiple times.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll almost certainly happen because we share the same brain. So.
We do. And listen, thank you for letting me borrow it on occasion. Becky's a little frustrated, but
we are sister and brother from another mother,
or just pop culturally linked in some sort of weird hive mind situation. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what to call it necessarily, but yes, we do seem to be on the same wavelength with these things. That's not to say that we think about everything the same. So why don't you give me your number 5 and your top 5 worst couples and Friday the 13th history?
My number 5 is Rick and Chris from Friday the 13th Part 3. Okay.
Well, yes, automatically they're on my list, and wouldn't you know it, they're right at the top.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if this was what you were holding on for, you're going to have to wait for the end of the podcast for us to get to it. But oh my God, there is so much to say about those two dum-dums.
Specifically Rick. Rick is the problematic half of this couple here.
That is very, very true. Without a doubt, he is the problem. I'm not sure that she's helping, but then again, she's at a disadvantage. Wait. I'm jumping the gun here. We can't get into Rick and Chris. We got to talk about my number 5. Let's see if you have it on yours. And I'm talking now. Originally, I have to state, I had Melissa and Eddie from Friday the 13th, Part 7 in here. But I struggled to qualify them as a couple because they're barely hooking up, Gina.
I was like, were they a couple? I seem to remember like Melissa really being into the other guy, kind of setting her cap for him.
Yes, but then she tried a jealousy play where she hooked up with Eddie, and unfortunately, it just becomes a long stint of disappointment and regret as Eddie really focuses on making out with her knee. Which
we've all been clumsy teens.
They are not teens. They are not teens. Again, not even fucking close to teens, because the real problem with that in terms of it being teens in Part 7 is most of those people don't know one another. You would never gather a bunch of teens who don't know one another at a remote fucking cabin.
And then
not even in the 80s.
And then wait around for the guest for the guest of honor who never shows up. And then somehow you sloppily get together with this dude who's like, let me lick your kneecap. Are you coming yet? And you're like, all right. Yeah, I think for purposes of this list, we should stick with more or less established couples and not just like hookups or like uncomfortable flirting or anything like that.
Yeah, at least people who have graduated to a level, I think that they're just having, or at least on their relationship, it can be very early in the relationship, but it can't just be a simple hookup, I don't think. So mine is number 5 is Barry and Claudette from Friday the 13th, 1980.
The two that started it all.
Yes. And, speaking of awkward ways to hook up, now Barry and Claudette, in what we see of this, don't get much farther than second base over the shirt style. But they're interrupted. They have also chosen the most terrible locale you possibly could to dry hump in.
The box room.
The box room with a rough wood floor of a dock. Which,
well, I mean, considering that they're making, fuck eyes at each other while, they're sitting around a fire saying, Michael, row your boat ashore. They might have some weird things that we just don't understand.
Yes. I think they have been over the course of the summer been getting closer and closer and closer. Like this is the end game for them, is to rub it out, polyester on polyester clothing style,
camp uniforms,
and get as close as they possibly can to sex on a splintered wood floor. And it's just like, I know you're hunting for a place to be alone, but there's got to be a more comfortable surface to put down on that than just a rando blanket, because splinters are going to get through there, my man. You come on, you got to think about her. She's got to think about you. It's just every sort of grind and bump is going to be combined with ow, 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 not ow, ow, like hours is my guess.
The least you could do is maybe sneak into like the first aid station or something.
Exactly. The nurse's office isn't occupied at night. Come the fuck on. But then they wouldn't be surrounded by empty boxes, which are, of course, the perfect defensive weapon if someone comes to murder you, which is, I'm sure, something that they thought a lot about before they got together. And you're absolutely right, Gina. I think what really makes them iconically bad is the setup for them on top of this all. Because when they are giving fuck eyes to one another during that folk song, and everyone else in the room was like, oh my God, would you guys fuck already?
Just go. Just go.
I don't want to look at you, say, oh, ride my boat ashore, if you know what I mean. I think you do. And that's just, everyone else in that room has got to be really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. No one should be forced to watch someone that visibly horny and do sing-along songs. There's two kinds of torture that are a peanut butter chocolate combination I never want to be a part of.
You please just do the polite thing and leave it once.
Then, of course, you have their deaths where he's one of two people in that movie that walks straight into a knife.
I love that happens twice.
I mean, he's the less obvious one than the 1980 camp manager, the weirdo with the mustache.
Steve, yeah.
He's just like, hey, I know you, stab. But he's like, he comes at this with and I truly hate this because and teenagers, because we have such a young audience, so many young people turn to us for our sage elder advice. And if someone walks in on you in the midst of, really dry humping someone good, and your response is, we weren't doing nothing, that's a dead fucking giveaway.
Yes.
Just try to cover your boner with a pillow or an empty cardboard box like a human fucking being. But don't try to convince me you were never doing nothing, because you're going to end up with a knife to your sternum that you walk into.
With the hands in supplication, like you got caught stealing money out of a purse.
I would like to discuss this with you, stab. And then you left poor Claudette to fend for herself, and all she has to do in defense is throw cardboard boxes at her assailant, and that does not go well for her. And of course, she fades into white nothingness or black nothingness, depending on what version of the movie you are watching, which transfer it is. It's supposed to be white, but for whatever reason, when it comes to Blu-ray and 4K, now it fades to black, which I think is worse. I like the fade to white. I like the idea that they just instantaneously rise to heaven or pass through a field into another dimension.
Well, because they didn't actually, finish having sex, so they still get to go to heaven.
That's right. I'm finally having an orgasm, and yeah, I'm penetrated. Yay! Oh. That might be the worst thing I've ever said on this podcast. And it took me nearly 10 years. And I might add, talking about the same people 10 years later. Oh, God. Time is a flat circle.
It has no meaning anymore.
It really, really doesn't. And I don't know that it did at the time. It just, maybe it was the illusion that it did. Okay. So your 5 is tabled. That's my number 5. Let's move on to your number 4.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned penetration because my number 4 is Eddie and Tina from A New Beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And mostly because every single adult listening to this show has had a friend or a couple's friend who would like to convince you that they invented the concept of sex.
Right.
When you're young, this is somebody who maybe just recently lost their virginity or is in their first long-term relationship and there's finally sex involved. Or even more obnoxiously, you may have somebody who has been divorced for a while and, or off the market for whatever reason, and they hook up with somebody.
Sure.
And they really want you to know that no one has ever experienced an orgasm until then. Nobody else has given another person an orgasm before them. And you will hear every single gruesome detail about what they're experiencing, like you literally have never had sex before. And Eddie and Tina are that couple. It is of the utmost importance to them that everybody at this halfway house / summer camp knows that they fucking.
Yeah. And fucking in the dirt regularly.
And just laughing about it like it is the funniest thing they could possibly think about. Now, I get that as vague as it is, that this is supposed to be a halfway home for troubled young adults. Yeah. So I think that the laughter thing is supposed to be sort of telegraphing that, they're not all there.
They're immature. They're into transgression, and this is as much transgression as they can really get away with.
But even after people start dying, they're still looking for the next opportunity to go bone somewhere, and it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. We get it.
The height of aren't we naughty for these two is let's go on off of the property we live on and onto some other person's dirt farm and fuck over there. And you're like, I guess.
Yeah. Again, much like Barry and Claudette, there are no good places for sex at this halfway house. I mean, because everybody shares rooms, as you might expect. So there's no privacy. But again, this is also supposed to be Southern New Jersey. And you know what they have a lot of in Southern New Jersey in the summer? Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Gnats. Ticks, Patrick. Not exactly conducive to lovemaking.
Well, it helps that their New Jersey is very California based because everything is brown. But you're absolutely right. But
then I also assume it's just going to be too hot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? You're hot, you're horny. That's why you eat Jell-O naked. But that's a Real Genius reference. Everyone open up a Wikipedia page, everyone. But yes, I hate their flirtation. I hate that part of it is him just throwing dirt at her. Like, what the fuck, man? You're about to have sex. You know what doesn't help with sex? Grit. That's not really the lubrication you want during the sexual act. That's not doesn't help with Congress. Okay. So I hate it all the way around. I do love that Eddie knows how to suplex people. Very rarely in Friday the 13th movies do you see wrestling moves. So I enjoy that part about it. Yeah, I dislike them. Not high and not on my list, but absolutely there. And oh boy, part 5 is just that's a cornucopia.
I should tell you that 3 out of my 5 couples are part 5.
Okay, so I should blow all of my Friday the 13th part 5 jokes is what you're saying. Okay. Again, Friday the 13th part 5, I think one of the rougher watches, one of the movies I love to talk about.
Oh, yeah, most. There's always something to say about it.
It's just endless the kind of conversation you can come with it. Let's see if I remember how they die. Eddie dies from the belt strap around his eyes.
He gets like held against a tree with the belt.
And
it is a pretty creative way to kill someone.
It is, yes. And
I would hazard to say it is the best kill for one of the worst characters.
True. Yes. It's certainly probably the most memorable out of the movie, let's say. I
think Tina just gets stabbed.
She gets stabbed through the eyes with garden shears.
Right.
So again, it's a movie that's really MPAA'd to the max because they kind of let them get away with a lot in the final chapter, because Paramount's like, this is the last one. And then like, oopsie. And then they giggled off and they gave the guy who made The Unseen the opportunity to make a Friday the 13th movie. Oh, God. Oh, Junior as The Unseen. How we wish we were talking more about you, our favorite Dirty Peanut.
the original Dirty Peanut.
The original Dirty.
Well, I guess the original Dirty Peanut would be the Dirty Peanut.
Yeah, that's true. Every once in a while, I get a comment telling me who the Dirty Peanut is in Peanuts, and I'm like, I know. The joke is that I don't know. The joke is that I don't know.
Established that on the episode when you referred to him as the Dirty Peanut. I think I said Pigpen.
But whenever we make reference to Dirty Peanuts, now out of 10 years of podcasting, like the amount of people, despite how large our audience has grown, and thank you all of you for listening, but to have listened to every single one and know every weird reference we've ever made, I can barely remember all the weird references we've made. Most of the time people are referencing them like, please remind me what the fuck I was talking about. I'm writing new weird jokes.
I say that in conversations I had yesterday. What the fuck I meant when I said this?
Number 4 for me, Gina, I'm going to go one part higher. I'm going to go to part 6, where Jason lives, from what I'm told. And we'll talk about the one and only Court and Nikki.
I did consider them.
I mean, the thing about Court and Nikki is that I don't think they're necessarily terrible people. I just don't think they are a very good couple. And I think maybe they might be the source code for bounce on it, a crazy style.
I mean, yeah, she basically, he's pretty much not even there for her. She's got the headphones on, like she's just like,
they're disconnected. I mean, maybe it is just a physical relationship for them both. And that's not necessarily the worst thing. I think we've all had something akin to that in our lives. Not every person that you're with is someone you're looking to be with for the rest of your life or even to the end of the summer. That being said, Nikki does need someone who actually listens to her, but also she doesn't want to listen to you. As you noted, she is wearing headphones the entire time they are fucking.
Yeah, no, like she's just like, you're a warm body, just lay back and let me get this over with.
Yes, but on the other hand, Court cannot keep up with Nikki. He can't do it at any point during our time with them. Honestly, during sex, he finishes way too soon, is unable to communicate that. It's very unfulfilled, and then after that, when Nikki's being murdered inside of a moving RV bathroom, he's also not listening to her.
He thinks she is taking a dump. And it's like, sir, what kind of bathrooms have you been in?
He's equally excited about the idea of her either masturbating and reaching orgasm, which good for you, but also reaching an orgasmic level while shitting, which again, I guess good for you, but what opportunities have you heard to hear people like literally reach orgasm while taking a dump? That is new for me. Please don't inform me that's someone's thing. I don't want to know about that.
Yeah, these are questions that we do not want answers to.
Granted, I, like all men of a certain age, I can't hear shit anymore. I lost a giant chunk of my hearing due to pretend explosions in pursuit of dry land and 3D robot warfare. And yet, I'm pretty sure I could pick up on the fact that a woman is having her face pushed through metal siding of an RV, mere feet from where I'm driving. That's just, I want to say I would be attuned to such an event.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that. And again, it's like, unless Court's entire experience with, hearing other people use the restroom is the diarrhea scene from Dumb and Dumber, I don't know why this would be his first thought as to what's happening to her.
I don't know what flies through Court's head. I mean, I do know what flies through his closet because I see so much of his legs in his very useless jeans. And in the time since we've talked about Court's jeans and how how little denim material is left on them, that style has returned.
Little Timmy Chalamet wearing jeans just like that and bones and all.
I mean, literally, he raided the Paramount Friday the 13th wardrobe to go out on the town. He is wearing Court's clothes. I have seen girls who are basically in Court cosplay with no idea that's where it comes from and are very weirded out when I point at them in public and going, "You look like Court." They don't know what I'm talking about.
And they're probably looking at you like, "Ew, you're like my dad's age."
I am.
Like, yes, I am.
That's how I know about 1986's Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. You should watch it. It's like a monster movie, and they just run away, as they should. But yeah, with Court and Nikki, yeah, these two had no future together. Even if a recent mental institution grad hadn't decided to restart the heart of a serial killer with lightning, which really is the only explanation for how he encounters that corpse. And as we said at the time, what a beautiful friendship. If we ever do the best friends of Friday the 13th, friendship's in there.
Alan is friend number one.
Yeah, 1,000. If you go, I need to dig up a serial killer because I need to stab it a little bit more, and he goes, "Does Friday work for you?
I'll drive you."
That person's a friend.
We'll pick up some snacks. Yeah. Road trip, baby.
That's right. I hear it's stormy, but you know what? It's going to be fine. That's fantastic. Okay. So if I remember correctly, Nikki face pushed through RV, Court stabbed or slashed. It's kind of edited out, but then an RV crash.
Yeah, the RV kind of flips. So clearly he didn't make it either way.
Yeah.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Okay. So we have out of the way our number 4s. We're moving at a great clip. What, pray tell, Gina, is your number 3 worst couple in Friday the 13th history?
Well, I couldn't get through this and not bring up Jason X at some point.
Of course,
so,
yes.
My number 3 couple is Sunaran and KM14.
Okay, well, I'm going to pause it right there because lo and behold, I also have Sunaran and KM14, but I have them one slot above this. So we'll press pause on that because there's so much to talk about there. Oh my God. Truly, wow. We're on the same wavelength. My number 3, let's get a little bit more recent here. Let's get into the aughts, the naughty 2000s, the millennial nasties with a little joint called Freddy versus Jason and a couple I like to call Trey and Gib. Do you remember who the fuck these people are?
I remember Gib because I am a big Catherine Isabel fan.
Yes.
And she is woefully miscast in this role.
Yeah. They're going for something there, but it isn't celebrating, genre standout and all around awesome lady that she is. She is saddled with a real dead meat territory here.
How do we make the hottest member of the cast a little less hot? I don't know. Give her a baseball cap.
Put her in a baseball cap.
Genius. You fucking did it, nailed it in one.
It's just perfectly understandable. Put her in a cap.
Put her in a baseball cap and give her a boyfriend who does not appear to remember her name because he keeps calling her babe.
Yes. He's the babe guy. He doesn't like anything about her other than the fact that he really enjoys having sex with her. And that's where it stops. He doesn't like anything before. He doesn't like anything after.
He's not even actually in it very long. Like his entire screen time is about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But he makes an impression. Not
he
a
does.
good one.
Right.
He makes an impression.
And that is the goal. Everyone doesn't like Trey. And I'm not entirely convinced that Gib likes Trey because she's doing a lot of things she knows he doesn't like. There are those couples in your life, and they are officially, we're in teen territory here, particularly in high school, where the reason you're together is because other people would like to be together with you, and the status of the coupledom is what is driving the relationship. And I have to assume that is what is going on here. Because Trey truly dislikes everything about Gib outside of the fact that she is willing to have sex with him.
Yeah, it's the dynamic is in another better movie it'd be abusive.
Yeah,
and here because the screenwriters so dislike the characters.
Yeah,
like it's sort of implied that she's such a sad sack that she kind of has this treatment coming.
I agree with you. She is a very pick-me sad sack character for some reason.
She gets an undignified life and an even more undignified death.
Yes. Their death does not come together, mind you. Trey's the first death in town in the movie, and he does get one of the more glorious Jason deaths in the entire thing.
He gets folded like a suitcase the wrong way.
Yes, it's a combo effort. So we kind of get a sad sandwich spear through the back action. Then he is folded a la Friday the 13th Part 6 in a bed that I guess it's a fold out.
I think it's I thought it was a cot, like a folding cot.
I think it's coming out of a couch because there is a bit of a headboard to it. Or at least, I don't know. Because a normal bed wouldn't stay in that position if you folded it, nor would it really provide you the resistance necessary to fold a human being in half. But of course, as we all know, Freddy versus Jason, the most medically accurate version of any Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. We talked about it in a commentary, and maybe we talked about it at the time, but Jason in that movie, who we're introduced to completely caved open in his chest and just his heart starts beating and then somehow gains more flesh over the course of the movie and a circulatory system and just starts to bleed fountains of Evil Dead style blood by the end of the movie.
And so does Freddy Krueger, who should be like producing dust at this point.
Well, we've seen him slice himself open. He's full of green gack goo. Like, he is prepared at any point in time for someone to say, I don't know. And he chops off a limb and they're just gacked. Nickelodeon Kids' Choice style. You can't do that on television territory. But for some reason in that movie, they become blood fountains.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. But Trey, I think, is designed to be onerous in a movie where some of the characters are designed to, we're supposed to like them, but they're just presented in the most awful fashion. He is one of the worst. Now, Gib, on the other side of this, because of the actress involved, we're automatically aligned with wanting the best for her. But Gib, it just has a hole in her soul that no shit for brains limp dick or Borg of alcohol can possibly fill. And I think it is canonical that I think Trey's a terrible lay.
Undoubtedly. Like, anybody that uses babe that often is just going to be bad in bed.
Yeah. Trey's death, as we noted, is from behind by Jason Voorhees' forced floor sponge ass. He's gone from a fish toilet to some sort of artisanal worm food, sort of mossy creature. And Trey, as a result, gets a very heated rivalry prequel style death from behind. But that being said, given that this is a movie that pits one of horror's greatest villains against another, it's really hard to decide who is the biggest. Because I believe it's not one of those two magically enhanced serial killers. It's either Trey or the two guys the one guy who's covered in glow sticks, who decides to date rape a blackout drunk Gib in the midst of a corn rave. And I will repeat that for everyone at home who might have forgotten. They're at a corn rave.
Yep. That's just, even though like classmates are dropping like flies, but you're going to have that Friday night corn rave.
Well, where else are you going to do it? The only thing that they have that's accessible. Of course, we all know that the locale of A Nightmare on Elm Street is definitely near corn, because you see it so often in the background of Joshua trees and the Venice canals.
Oh yeah,
Southern California.
I mean, don't you remember
USC.
don't you remember that great shot in To Live and Die in L.A. where they they have that car chase right through the cornfield
down the wrong way of the corn maze. Oh my God! And of course, she is murdered by Jason in the other half of the sad sandwich. And then what I had forgotten until recently is the guy who is on top of her while she is unconscious is then catapulted off of Jason's spear as if he's kicked a field goal. He's launched Angry Bird style into some other part of the corn rave, which I'm sure that they will find his body, because he has tied a glow stick to every possible loose thread on his weird clothing style. A poor one out for Gib. You can tell that the writers, and there were many of Freddy versus Jason, were obviously trying to tick off Jason kills and kind of divide that one into two, but also it fucking sucks and I hate it. It's the worst sad sandwich of all the sad sandwiches.
No. She was meant to be, Catherine Isabel is meant to play a final girl, not the first girl killed on screen.
Absolutely true. Okay. So before we get to Sunron and KM14, which are our combined thing, because that's my number 2, who is your number 2?
I'm kind of playing into stereotypes here, but I've got to live my truth for this.
Sure.
I think you of all people deserve that. So I am dipping back into the well of part 5. Mm-hmm. And these characters are Mama and Junior.
Now, as the names imply, these are supposed family members, but I agree with you their relationship is seriously odd.
Yeah, well, again, because this is ostensibly supposed to be New Jersey, they also come off as hee-haw characters.
Yeah, very.
So that again, that's why I admit to playing stereotypes that characters in movies that have these accents. There's probably some at least implied incest happening.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the filmmakers mind that the audience, assumes that.
Yeah.
I think that is part of the joke for these awful characters. On top of everything else, they're probably incestuous.
Right. They are certainly, they argue in a way that implies that they are having sex, and that plays
they
into
argue
it.
Like a married couple.
Yeah.
Like they're like a Lockhorns cartoon.
Right, exactly.
She's about ready to chase him around with her rolling pin.
And as such, like their lifestyle leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, if the worst thing that is happening to you is that random kids from the halfway house next door to your property are having sex adjacent to your land, you're not looking at your life hard enough. And they're not, because their kitchen is festooned with dry herbs just nailed to the wall. That is a decorating choice with a capital CH.
Is she also like the local witch?
I don't know. She's the local something or other.
She's a local crone.
I think so. She may be luring children into an oven. There's a lot going on with her. And the fact that she spends the vast majority of her day complaining about the food she makes for Junior, but also spending the vast majority of the day making food for Junior, who, I'll be honest with you, given that he's eating farm to table, quite literally, something else is going on.
And also, Junior's about 30, so Junior can be making his own food at this point.
Yes, but if you remember, Junior's spoon is a large wooden kitchen spoon. That's what he eats meals with, Gina. He's yet another in a long line of dirty peanuts that we didn't call out at the time.
He's just not a murderous dirty peanut, but he's definitely, on the most basic levels, he's definitely a dirty peanut. And I feel like, they could have gotten their own spin-off horror movie.
Oh, 1000%. Again, we don't know he's not a murderous dirty peanut. And I think the only reason he wouldn't qualify is we do see him fight later on, and he has his ass handed to him by someone a good 75 pounds lighter than him. Again, very few Friday the 13th movies have a lot of hand-to-hand combat. And yet Part 5 provides us with that.
Yeah, Part 5 is practically sponsored by the WWE.
It really does go out of its way by the director of Savage Streets to somehow put hand-to-hand combat Street Fighter style rough and tumbles in the middle of this slasher movie. So yeah, I think the most dangerous Junior ever gets is alone on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
And of course, if I'm remembering correctly, she dies from her face being pushed into boiling water of the stew.
I believe so. And which may have dismembered children in it.
It's true. It might have diced up kids.
It may be like Sloppy Child. That's going to be
Sloppy Child.
That's going to be served on some squashed hamburger buns that she bought from the bread outlet.
It is a very loose meat style sandwich, and he dies by decapitation while riding a motorcycle and complaining that he got beat up.
Yes,
to his mom,
which is how he would have wanted to live.
That's true. He died as he lived, useless and yelling. Keep all this in mind because we have to choose our own deathventure at the end of this. Okay. I'm not writing this down. I really should have. I just now thought we have to choose our own deathventure. I didn't prepare at all for this. It's very weird. Okay. So now that's your number 2. My number 2 is your number 3, and that is Sooneron and KM14. And to a reasonable degree, it is difficult to call this scientist and the robot he created in Dick Fingers couple, considering that KM14 has genuinely no choice in the matter.
Right.
She is programmed to constantly campaign from the moment we meet her, as she identifies, that sooner on should really start dicking her down.
Right.
That is her main campaign.
That's the thing. Is I think that I would, I don't want to say forgive sooner on and KM14 as a couple, but it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth because of just the current state of things.
Right. Yes.
And how too much time on social media has revealed to me that there are quite a few men who would consider this the ideal relationship.
Yes.
You have a custom-made lady bot who is there to serve your degenerate pleasures.
Yes. And as it is written, it is not a desire of his necessarily in which he acts, immediately acts out on. He is constantly demurring. She, meanwhile, is as scripted, constantly going, why can't we bone? Why shouldn't you insert your flesh member into my...
It's like he turned up her like sexual aggression at like a 9 and he really needs it down at like a 4.
It's like, I need to get in and reprogram that, but he's just so flattered by her constantly throwing her artificial vagina in his face that he installed into her, I might add. And
her nippleless breasts, which tells me everything I need to know about Sunaran.
Then he created nipples, but not a way to attach them until it was time to put them on. And you're like, why would you want him? This is what you want?
He's just like, I don't really need these.
Yes. This whole flirtation, if I can once again put it in Dick Fingers, is what the makers of this dreadful, shitty film, in my opinion, think is some kind of romantic tension. And it holds no tension. It is the loosest rope in the world. There's no elasticity to any of this interaction between the two of them. This is like betting on slot car racing. The groove that guides and powers the car is doing the majority of the work. If the extension cord I use to make coffee every single morning suddenly spoke up and said, plug me in, daddy, I would walk myself onto an ice floe by myself naked. And just think, Becky and my son, they will be better off without the knowledge this happened, the embarrassment that might cause. This is not something that needs to be on my tombstone.
I'll just let them make up their own story about what happened to me.
Whatever it's going to be, it's going to sound better than that. And that's what this is. There's just, I hate it in my bones.
Yeah, like I say, a lot of it for me is colored by understanding that this is actually a thing that, people, men, let me just clarify that, look to as, the benchmark of a brighter future where, eventually, and we have, trillionaires working to make this happen where, we're not going to need women anymore, as if women are, furiously demanding that we be able to date these specimens of humanity, but then any day now we're going to be able to custom make. It's basically Companion. Yeah. If Companion was stupid.
If Companion was the stupidest thing you've ever heard.
If the robot got comically turned out to be comically useless in the face of grave danger, and the human survives at the end.
Yeah. Her head goes on. Her head will go on. So
I mean, that's really all he needs. Am I right?
Oh, Jesus. It's the worst. Yeah. He lives. Yeah. She was technically never alive, but survives. So they're pretty much out of this. Even a decapitation can't remove her from one of the worst fates in all of Friday the 13th. So let us now turn to your number one worst couple in Friday the 13th.
I'm going to break my own rules here.
Oh, okay.
And I said that it needed to be an established couple.
Sure.
This is an presumptive couple for me. And again, going back to part 5, Billy and Pete. Do you remember Billy and Pete?
How can I possibly forget Billy and Pete, Gina?
Billy and Pete. There are two interesting things about Billy and Pete. Is that one of them, I don't remember if it's Billy or Pete, I'd have to look it up, is played by Corey Parker, who, if you're of a certain age, old, you may remember that there was a certain hierarchy of kind of, likable but dorky young actors.
Yes.
You couldn't get Matthew Broderick.
Top of the mountain. That's the mountaintop.
If Broderick wasn't available, you called up John Cryer.
Right. Solid number 2. Reliable. What you need. Even will fill in for Broderick on Broadway after he's I'm done.
Cryer's understudying. You get Patrick Dempsey.
Sure. He's got the hair. He's got the vague look. He will go on to have a very solid post-turning 30-year-old, working TV actor life.
I was going to say Patrick Dempsey is growing up and getting hot. Then you go way down your list. You go to Corey Parker.
Who I can see him in my mind, but I'm also, part of me is wondering, am I just taking bits and pieces of the other 3 actors we just mentioned
and Frankensteining them and
assembling them Mr. Potato style onto another vague white face?
Are you making like a Franken-Dweebs monster?
Right. He's East Coast. He's got the dark wavy hair. Sure, it's him. But also, he's a human being. He probably deserves more respect than what we're giving him. But you're not wrong in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. But so the other interesting thing about this ostensible couple is, for whatever reason, they are dressed like, you could either say that they are dressed like a community theater version of Grease.
Right.
Or that they just went directly to the set off of being extras and cruising. This is straight like fetish outfits they have on. They've got the leather the leather daddy cap. They've got the motorcycle jackets. And again, this is 1986, maybe?
It is 85 specifically, filmed in 84.
Nobody was dressing like this.
No, not a fucking soul in the world.
Except, if you were hitting up the gay bars in New York City.
Right. Or West Hollywood. And where, again, and they absolutely should. And we're not condemning them as a bad couple because of this. It's just that, holy shit, what is going on with these two? Because a lot's being alluded to. And once again, I think we noted at the time, and we just talked about when it comes to Pa or Ma and what's his Junior. These two argue too much to simply be friends.
Right. There's arguing with a friend and there's arguing with someone you're sleeping with.
Yes.
And the vibe is different enough to be noticed.
It is pronounced.
And again, it is just, it's more passionate.
Yes.
For lack of a better word.
Yes. And they seem to be going through a ritual in which they're going through a scenario. And at the time, we sort of began to pick it apart that all of this really has to do with a sub-dom relationship where everything falls to the one about the car and fixing things and making things right, while the other one says, I don't need to be a part of this. I'm going to take a poop in the woods.
Because why wouldn't you?
Right. Because he doesn't need to be prepared for the rest of the evening, I guess. And as our guest at the time noted, you don't shit in front of your sub that's rude. So not unless they've requested it. And so as a result,
yeah, that's the kind of thing like in a dom sub relationship you work out in advance.
Yeah, this is very, and that I think really comes across that a lot of this feels planned and noted to death and agreed upon about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And this is a ritual for them. And the only thing that stops that ritual is a deranged ambulance driver who abandoned his boy and then gets pissed off when he wanders back into town, and some guy who's dressed his leg like an Aerosmith microphone stand kills him.
And also, this, Roy kind of catches their vibe very quickly because he kills one of them by shoving a long cylindrical object in his mouth. Right.
Yes. It is not the most convincing effect in the world, but it is one of the more memorable.
Yeah, it's memorable because it's the rare symbolic, metaphorical death in Friday the 13th.
I would agree.
Because generally Jason just picks up whatever weapon happens to be handy.
He's more of a ninja. He likes to find machetes in the woods. Of course, we all know that Crystal Lake is littered with loose machetes. And as a result, he is very improvisational, much like his mom was. That being said, the franchise does have a lot of sad sandwiches, a lot of penetration and everything like that. But this is pointed. The whole thing feels pointed in a way that you kind of feel like the dumbest, the person who's crafty enough to get a major motion picture made, but also too dumb to really use subtext, is going to deliver that kill on camera. And, the person who brought us Savage Streets and The Unseen, he's the perfect person to do it. And again, his best movie is The Unseen. This is
by a country mile.
It's unfucking believable. And I think the other one just dies by throat slitting, but at an impossible angle, because there's no way that Roy would be able to draw back his arm enough to actually slash his throat. Again, we don't come to these movies for reality, but Part 5 really does strain credibility and credulity in a great many ways.
I think it really was to try very hard to be as repugnant as possible, and it succeeds.
Yes,
God bless, it succeeds.
And unlike A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, to me, it feels like the idea that they could be gay or perceived as gay is the joke, and that's what unfortunately makes it it just makes it weird and gross now.
Yeah, I'm not offended by the fact that they're a gay couple. Right. I'm offended by the way the movie treats them.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's part of what makes them the worst couple, because they're done the fucking dirtiest.
Right. It's just a bunch of god awful stereotypes with like the weird dynamics and the leather and it's just like no.
It's like they saw the first Police Academy Blue Oyster joke.
Yes, exactly. They were like, well, that was funny.
That was funny. Let's put that in a Friday the 13th movie and see if anyone gets it. And it's like, yeah, I'm not stupid. And also you made it obvious. And also that's gross. And regardless of what I think of the Blue Oyster joke, which is not inherently funny,
I mean, I do like that. I do like when Steve Guttenberg's character says, "I'm going in," and then 10 seconds later, he's like, "I'm coming out."
It's I thought I can handle this. Again, people reacted to Cruising in such a wild way that years later, they're like, we just have to address this in cinematic form. We have to put it in comedies. We have to put it in slasher movies. We have to get into this. And then you watch Cruising and you're like, this is very interesting. And it's really in depth and honestly kind of weirdly preserves a scene that might have gone undocumented if otherwise. That said, is incomprehensible as a plot.
Yes.
I think I've put Cruising on and off the list like a half dozen times, but I don't know that I have a take on it yet.
Yeah, that's one, we as boring straight people are going to, have to discuss ahead of time how we want to approach it.
And I also don't want to drag on a cadre of queer guests simply to explain to me what this or that might mean when I don't really find the gayness of it to be the most perplexing. It is far and away. Who is the kill? What is going on? Who, what? How?
Yeah, at its core, it's a very interesting, compelling story.
Yeah.
It is just incomprehensible at times.
The characters are interesting. What happens in the movie is very interesting. But if you were to map it out on paper, you'd have to start doing multiple pieces of paper, tape them to a wall, and start putting red string across. Soon you're like, I'm really trying to figure out who the Unabomber is level shit.
Right.
Yes. What were we talking about again? Oh, Friday the 13th. It's a different Paramount movie than Cruise.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
You're jamming your favorite song, and while you aren't missing a beat, you could be missing a signal from your body. It's an SOS from your kidneys, and it doesn't sound like music at all. It's silent. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and other risk factors can quietly stress the kidneys, leading to negative impacts on the heart. That's why you should ask your doctor about a simple urine test called UACR. Most miss the signal for hidden kidney disease and related heart risk. You shouldn't. Visit detectthesos.com today to learn more.
All right. Yes, I agree with you, but we have to get back to your number 5. My number 1 worst couple of Friday the 13th franchise, and that is Rick and Chris.
Rick, who has no time for trauma.
He really doesn't. And I as a point of comparison here, one of the couples that obviously was like shortlisted for me because we talk about him a lot, it is like Paul from part 2, who's just like a big dumb sex idiot. And he has a lot of issues. He's misogynistic. He doesn't listen very well. But at the very least, he picks up on the cues of when and where his girlfriend Ginny would like to fuck. Like he can figure that out. He can suss that out. Like now's a bad time. Now's a great time when Crazy Ralph is outside looking. That's what she wants. He's picking up on clues. Rick refuses.
Well, here's the thing. You mentioned earlier about the dirty peanut and how that's become one of our, one of our most beloved recurring jokes.
Yes.
But the number 1 recurring joke is, have you considered my penis?
True.
Now that was birthed during when we covered the original Scream.
Yeah.
Because Billy likewise has a little trouble understanding. I need time to process my mother's brutal death.
Right.
He thinks that Sydney should be over it or be able to compartmentalize. I mean, obviously, there's also the matter of he killed her mother.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet, of course.
Yeah.
But so he is, he's trying to move her past that so he can get laid. But I will say 2 things in Billy's defense. Besides the fact, he's a murderer.
We're not defending that much.
Yeah, we're not defending that part. Yeah. But I am defending in the way he's reacting to her reluctance to, get deflowering her or over with.
Yeah.
Is he's a dumb teenager. And I do think in his own sick and twisted way, he does care about Sydney. But I get no impression. Now, Rick is a grown-ass man.
Yes, very much so.
And I get the impression that he does not care about Chris in the slightest. He definitely doesn't care about her traumatic experience.
No.
Like, I think she has, like, tried to tell him, and he's just like, I'm not your therapist.
Right.
It's like, he's one of those people that, gets his advice from, like, threads that says, like, don't ever talk about your problems to your partner because they're not your therapist.
Yeah.
That kind of weird sort of, all relationships are by definition antagonistic.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is a problem to be solved, not a human being to be listened to and considered. And for reasons that still confound me, he is unable or unwilling or both to consider that Chris has obviously undergone some kind of personal transformation in the years that she has been absent from Crystal Lake and followed the Grateful Dead on tour. This shit is canon, people. So don't come to me telling me that this character is some sort of too pure for life virgin. She is towing around a Cheech and Chong replacement literally inside of her boogie van.
She's figuring some shit out.
Yes.
She is a different person than she was the last time Rick saw her. And he is completely uninterested in exploring why that might be.
Yes. Just, she disappeared. She hasn't been in contact. The moment she's back into town, he's just like, hey, I'm looking forward to hot and cold running sex. Before asking at any point, hey, I'm curious, why did you disappear after that one night we fucked in my tiny VW?
What happened in the past 5 years that I've heard or not seen a single hair of you?
I know your parents weren't fans of us having sex, so I assume it's a part of that. But now you've come back, which means it's just I've come up with a sex plan now. Who in their right mind talks to somebody for the first time after a lengthy absence where they've acquired a boogie van, toured around following the Grateful Dead, and come back and go, you know what? Here's what I've come up for us as a sex schedule instead of what? Where you been? Where you at, girl?
A sex schedule. Can you imagine anything less sexy
than pre-scheduled sex? I mean, I guess is if he wrote it down.
Is he trying to conceive a child?
I don't know.
Is he building this around her ovulation cycle? Because I understand that is a thing most people, a lot of people have to go through in order to have a child, but usually that's the woman that handles that aspect of scheduling.
Yeah, no. I think using the word conceive is too advanced for this character because that would require him to think. And I would just remind everybody that when Rick is killed, a fire poker is forced through the back of his head and out through his eye, and it is dry as a bone, baby.
I thought his head got squeezed.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
You're right about the eyeball part, because that's probably one of the most iconic kills in the whole series.
That's true.
But no, I think he squeezes his head.
I'm now so used to seeing it in that German Blu-ray that I have that's in 3D, and you see so much of the fishing wire that extends.
Oh, yeah. It definitely looks like something is
pushing it out.
Yeah.
That being said, after that squeeze, you would think whatever's contained inside of that noggin might find egress as quickly as possible.
Nope. It just collapses like a hollowed out watermelon.
It's empty inside. There's a puff of smoke when his eye emerged. Pop. And
that's not at all surprising.
Dry as a bone, baby. There's a desert inside of there. There's no juice to be found. And I just want, for the record, because occasionally we have run into people who have performed in these movies, and we're not talking about Paul Kratka, the actor. He is innocent. But Rick is guilty. He is never beating the allegations, baby.
Yeah, no. He is truly. I have my 5, but now that we've discussed it, I think he is king of the dipshits in this entire franchise.
And I would love to think that the people who were conceiving this movie were really trying to make him callous, but I don't believe that. Then again, within that movie, you have Andy and Debbie, and Andy is very dedicated to Debbie in almost every single way. He is very aligned with her wants and needs. He listens. They're having a child. They seem to be a really engaged couple. You've got Chuck and Chili, who know that they're past the sex part of their lives, apparently.
But they're like a little teen,
right? And then you've got the polycule of Fox, Ali, and Loco, who definitely have a pre-planned relationship. This is how they're doing things, and I might not like it, but I'm not in it. But Rick is singular. He is, have you considered my penis prime in a lot of ways? And
like I said, it's worse. It's worse than Billy because Rick has got to be at least 25.
Oh, yeah. Yes. They're well past the point of their teenage years. This is kind of the point of that Chris character, is that and he does not know this, nor is he asked, that she has had a really traumatic run-in with Jason Voorhees, who time traveled back to the point where he wasn't wearing a bag over his head and didn't have a full head of hair, but confronted her near her thinking tree. And somehow, and then she's like, okay, I woke up, maybe something happened to me, maybe something didn't, and goes on a journey of self-discovery. And he never asks about it.
It's implied that like Jason, it's like the rare kidnapping he commits.
Right.
It's sort of like a precursor to the
remake.
The remake,
yes,
where he is holding people captive.
Right. And where I feel like they're since that movie is stealing so many bits and baubles from the past movies, maybe that's where that's coming from. And you're like, okay, not the worst idea. But the movie is so reticent to put any sort of philosophy behind it because it doesn't make any sense in terms of the timeline. But then who fucking cares? Like, who? Oh,
but she's sort of acting like, and again, I'm not considering this a negative, although I think it's handled poorly by the script. Yeah. She is sort of acting like someone who was trying to move past a sexual assault.
Exactly. Yes.
Where she unfortunately one of the things that can happen is someone who loses their sex drive or finds themselves fairly repelled or uncomfortable by the idea of sex after an assault. Understandably, she's trying to figure out who she is. She's maybe being a little reckless with the, just following a band on tour, but he's just so uninterested in what is causing this or how can he help or anything like that. It's just like, man, you're a real fucking asshole.
I know. And then she tells that tale to him and he's like, we need to get the fuck out of here. I hate your friends.
He's like, yeah, so anyway, this place sucks. I hate everyone. Can we go somewhere and then maybe have sex?
Yeah, can we just like get away from your loser friends and then maybe you'll feel like having sex with my penis?
No, I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah. No, how can I make it better? Nothing. And again, it's like, is this on purpose? Is this one of those, attempts at character development where like the audience is, cheering when he finally bites it? I don't know, but it's either way, it makes him a shitty character.
Right. If the goal was to make him someone who learns this information and has empathy, they do a terrible job of showing it. If there's someone, and if it was made to make him callous, why would I care about him? Or
that's already well established that he's callous.
Yes. It's just, but they're also handling the story in such a weird way because obviously that's a really heavy subject and it's being done in a movie whose sole purpose is to be filmed in 3D. And it's just perhaps not the place for this.
Right. Yeah. Don't tease the idea of having a survivor of a masked maniac dealing with her trauma and then do nothing with it, which I will point out is what makes Rob Zombie's Halloween, well, the second one at least, a much better movie than people give it credit.
Yeah.
Because it realistically addresses that you don't just walk away from this shit.
Right. Yes.
That the circumstances of slasher movies are, patently, pretty ridiculous and pretty unrealistic. But, you could bring some realism into it by having a survivor just, barely holding it together afterwards.
And it shows multiple survivors of that and the diaspora of reactions to surviving such an incident.
Right. And God help me, I'm even willing to give some credit to David Gordon Green, at least in the first Halloween, with, how Laurie is portrayed. Unfortunately, they kind of dropped that.
Yes. It's better than what we see her as, the sort of shorthand we get of those emotions in H2O.
Right.
That to me feels like, let's get past this and on to the teen murder plot instead of actually engaging with like actors who could pull that off, and they just decide to whiz past it because the movie doesn't make 80 minutes. If I remember correctly, it barely passes it, if that. It doesn't make 90, that's for sure. Oh God, Rick and Chris. Anyways, so of the deaths here, we have walk into a knife, be stabbed, and then go into oblivion. Then we have get your head crushed via belt through your eyes, or get stabbed through the eyes with a gardening shears. Get your head pushed through the side of an RV, or get your throat slashed and die in an RV crash. Who was your number? It was Ma and why can't I remember his name?
Junior.
Why am I blocking out Junior? Because it's distasteful. Ma it gets a face full of sloppy children, and he loses his head while on a motorcycle. Then we have stabbed through the back, one half of a sad sandwich and folded in half backwards, or get the other half of the sad sandwich and have the person sexually assaulting you in a corn rave catapulted Angry Bird style. Then who's your two?
That was Mama and Junior.
Okay.
Because remember, my three was Sooner On.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So, and
14.
Sooner On, they live. So that's out. And then for our number ones, you have road flare through the mouth and throat slashed in the front seat of the car improbably. And I have a survivor and get your head crushed and have your eye fly out dust style. Just clean as a fucking whistle. Nothing but a whoosh of canned air behind it.
Like that. That's just, it's like a whoopee cushion of the head. Like there should just be a fart noise when he squishes it, when he crushes his head.
There really should be. So Gina, it's time to choose your own death venture. What say you?
Oh man. I guess, I would say I strongly dislike Junior as a character, but I think he gets the quickest and cleanest death.
He does.
So I'm going to go ahead and just take, head chopped off while I'm riding a motorcycle and complaining, because as anybody can tell you about me, is when I die, I'm probably going to be in the middle of complaining. Like I'm just going to be like, oh, this sucks.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. I remain steadfastly in Claudette's corner here. I want to be stabbed, but then immediately go to a white hot room where everything disappears and just a credit sequence plays. Are
you going to have the polyester shorts and shirt and the little knee socks?
Gina, I have to die the way I lived.
Wearing knee socks
and yellow shorts. my hair in a headband, just the way I live. It makes perfect sense for me. Well, that pretty much does it. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about movies and pop culture at my newsletter, GinaWatchesThings.ghost.io. And I am on an extended break from Threads and Blue Sky, but you can find me on Instagram under Gina Does Things.
Do it today, people. Check it out. Of course, please subscribe to Scream Share, the newsletter I have coming out where I give you 3 recommendations every Thursday for your horror watching weekend at home, plus news and a bit of views and a poll. And I just... this very night, the day this comes out, will be the first virtual watch party. We will be watching Friday the 13th movie via teleparty. And I'm hoping to create somewhere where everyone can gather. I live in LA, and I have plenty of revival theaters and places where I commune with horror fans on a monthly basis. And I just want to be able to find that community to maybe the people who don't get it regularly, who are in places that don't have that opportunity, or maybe they do. They wish they were having opportunities that were found like in Salem, Mass during their film festival, or in Stigis or somewhere else where people all get to gather together. I'd like to create a place where once a month we can do that. And that is the base argument for Scream Share. Go to screamshare.beehive. That's BEEHIIV.com. Whoo, doggy. Beehive.com.
They like to make these things complicated.
They sure do, but
like I didn't even know that .io was a thing.
And there we go. But of course, you can also join our Patreon and support the show financially. We would really love that, because it helps with research purposes and all of our technical needs here on the show to keep the show as free as possible. And of course, you can rate and review us on Apple, on iTunes, wherever you find it. Rate us 5 stars. Tell us in your review what your favorite, Choose Your Own Deathventure. And I'll read it here on air. That's our solemn promise to you, the Kill by Kill listener. You can talk back to us on YouTube, on Spotify. Email us at killbykillpod@gmail.com. There's a lot of ways to communicate with us. We'd love to hear from you. We're on most of the socials except for Twitter. Fuck that place. That just about does it, folks. Thank you for hanging in as this edition of this was supposed to come out in February, but the internet ate my audio, so we had to redo it. But you know what? I enjoyed it just as much, if not more so, the second time around. Don't worry, folks. The body count and remarch will continue for myself and for Gina. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.